Welcome to this introductory webinar for audit professionals. This walkthrough is aimed at providing you a better understanding of what's contained in an IBISWorld industry research report specific to your role. I'm Isaac Satin, Director of Customer Communications for IBISWorld. If you haven't already done so, I suggest you watch the general overview video, which goes through some best practices, search functionality, and general tips for the IBISWorld platform, as this video will delve into the specifics of how to use the IBISWorld content during the audit planning stages and when assembling the management letter. I aim to highlight a few key things from each of our chapters as we get into the database here. For today's presentation, I'm going to utilize the coffee and snack shops in the US title. Always like to keep it something common that we can all relate to and have been to before. So we're inside the main landing page for the coffee and snack shops in the US. And I always suggest that people head right to industry at a glance. That's going to allow you to quickly look at some of the key numbers that are involved in the industry and immediately find things that stick out to you that you might want to address, take a closer look at. Right away, I'm seeing things like a negative 10% growth number here. The consumer confidence index is down. What does that mean? Take a closer look at that. Taking a look at what the profit margin has been and how that's flowed over the years. And just some general numbers that give me ideas of things to look at and keep in mind as I go through this industry title a little bit more. The product and services segmentation we're going to touch on in just a bit as well. All of these areas inside the Industry at a Glance page are featured further within our 9 chapters within the report. So we'll be sure to take a closer look at some of them. Key trends are always a great one to get a good high-level overview. And then, of course, our executive summary. It's going to talk about where the industry has been, where it is now, and where is it projected to go. Once you get a good idea of what's going on in the industry, I suggest you head over to the industry performance page to start to dig into some more of these numbers. The first thing we take a look at are key external drivers. And these are things that go beyond the control of a business that could be potential risks to their operation. So taking a look at the various things we track here, revenue, the consumer spending, healthy eating index, all things related specifically to coffee and snack shops, we can see how those trends have changed over time and give you more details on them. We then go into the actual current performance numbers. So you can see year by year us tracking the revenue figures and how that's ebbed and flowed. We'll also take a look annually how much in total the industry is looking like so you can get a good idea of market size and things like that. And we can also take a look at the number of establishments, enterprises, total employment, all here graphed on this chart for you. In addition to the current performance statistics, we're going to give you that analysis. So when you're really sitting down, digging more in depth, aiming to understand the industry further, we'll talk about things like volatility, M&A occurrences, any technology changes that have really shifted consumer utility or interest. Everything that we want to talk about will be located here in this industry performance chapter. And then, of course, we're going to give you the key statistics. This is where we're going to get into the raw data and take a look all the way back 20 years at what has the growth looked at like over times. I always suggest to people with some of the big changes in 2008, 2009, then, of course, 2020, how did this industry respond to a lot of external pressures? The next chapter is our industry outlook chapter. And this is our proprietary forecasting model that looks ahead at the next 5 years. And I always suggest to audit professionals, take a look at what the businesses that you're auditing are projecting. What do their 3-year and 5-year numbers look like? And how does that align with the IBISWorld projections? Does it match up? Is it completely different? What does that mean if it is completely different? I'm sure you're going to be aiming to get to the why behind that. So here you'll see again those statistics of the raw numbers as well as the percentage change year over year for the upcoming 5 years. The next chapter is definitely one of the favorites amongst audit professionals, our products and markets chapter. First area I want to highlight are the products and services. So using this data for benchmarking of what are the various products and services that the business that you're auditing are involved with? What percentage of their revenue does it make up? Is it a larger share than the industry average, a smaller share? And if so, what does that mean? Are they a specialist in their field? Are they in a niche market? Is there market opportunity to go and evolve one of their products and service offerings within that space? Are they missing out on a market opportunity potentially and turning a blind eye to it? So again, not only are we going to have the data, but we're going to have that analysis to back it up for you so you can further explore and understand some of these different areas. Coffee and snack shops, of course, pretty straightforward, right? We're getting our drinks, we're getting our bagels there, but I'm sure with some of these industries, it goes into a lot of complex layers of of different product offerings and service offerings. Demand determines why are people purchasing from this industry. The next one coming up, major market segmentation, is another one that I really like to key in on, because being able to understand how much does your client understand their key markets, who are they selling into, how aligned are they with that, with the industry averages, again, just making sure that they aren't turning an eye to a specific market segment that they could be looking at and going after. We're not going to go through every single subchapter today, aiming to keep this to a brief webinar, but by all means, please explore. There's a lot of different utility in some of the areas that I'm going over a little bit quicker. Our geographic breakdown is a great new chapter that we've added to IBISWorld here in terms of expanding its capabilities. You'll have all 50 states highlighted here, where you can take a look at understanding what are the states that have the largest number of establishments, the growth rates, the employment numbers, and being able to take a look at an industry that might be operating in multiple states or even just their own state. You can really narrow in on that. And of course, we do have an additional collection, our state industry reports, that if are of interest, I encourage you to explore that. That lets you get very granular and look down to the county level of data. So that is another additional offering that we have. But always take a look at this geographic breakdown and you'll get a little bit better of a state picture here. And you could look at establishments, revenue, employment, and wages. Let's jump ahead to our competitive landscape chapter. This is absolutely one of the favorites amongst our audit professionals, and that's because of two key areas that I'm going to point out to you. The first are the key success factors. These 5 to 6 items can almost be, bullet points or check marks of how is the business that you're working with doing with some of these. Now, some of these go beyond numbers, and are going to be outside of the realm of the audit, but some of them are going to be absolutely related to how are they doing with things like inventory control, their marketing spend, keeping up with the latest technology and the amount that they're spending on research and development. These are from a list of over 250 different things. So if the business is ignoring one of these key success factors, that's absolutely an area to delve into further, ask some questions surrounding why that might be, and then, of course, looking at the numbers associated with that. And if you are struggling with maybe some of those questions, in just a minute, I'm going to show you a place where IBISWorld can help with that. The next section I'm very excited to always show audit professionals are the cost structure benchmarks. Now, IBISWorld tracks going back over 10 years, things like profit, purchases, wages, marketing, rent, utilities, how much is spent on each of these areas year by year. So you can see right now in 2002, the profit margins are at 3.8%. But if we go back and look at 2017, we'll be able to immediately take a look at, okay, 6 years ago, where were those profit margins? And you'll see it's 7.7%. And let's go back all the way almost 10 years ago. And the profit margins used to be 8.4%. So clearly, this is an industry that's seen shrinking profit margins quite substantially. Again, why might that be? What could possibly offset that? What does that mean for the future? And then here we're going to have a bit of a dialogue on each of these different areas. So you can see that rapid decline in the profit margins long before COVID was even in the picture there. So being able to ask those questions about each of these areas. So definitely explore the cost structure benchmarks chapter. I'm going to skip ahead here quickly to the operating conditions section. A couple of things that I want to point out from the operating conditions perspective. This just gives you an idea overall of how is the industry built, how is it responding to things, like technology change. We'll have a brief overview. Any type of industry assistance will be covered within this chapter as well. Revenue volatility, a big one that I think for audit is good to look at. And we have all different types of trends and levels here. Is it low, medium, high? And where is the trend? Is it increasing, decreasing, remaining the same? So that's another chapter that's good to just do a quick overview and see if anything stands out to you. But I'm going to show you a special report that we actually have called our risk ratings report. So we're going to jump into now our risk ratings report, which is an additional collection that we offer that allows you to look at some of these different trends and levels, and we provide that numerical score for you because we know in accounting it's important to put numbers behind it. So what we aim to do here is we actually weight every single component within our industry reports over 15 on a scale of 1 to 9, 1 being the least risky, 9 being the most risky, and being able to break down those components even further and see where does the risk lie. So I can see here that while the industry overall has a 5.24 risk score, there's actually a bit of a higher risk score in the structural risk, 5.96. If I click on structural risk, I'll be able to explore this further. I actually see barriers to entry, competition, and level of assistance are all measuring higher on our risk scale. I typically suggest anything with a 6 or greater risk score to take a closer look at, ask some questions, explore further, because those are areas that could be influential in a business's environment, that could spell trouble down the line. So always take a look at those higher, more risky components. If you subscribe to the risk ratings module, if you're interested, of course, inquire about that. And I'm just showing you how we have some analysis here as well. So going back into the industry report, just 2 more chapters to share with you, or actually 3 here. The key statistics, this is where, again, you're going to get all of those raw data sets, and you're going to get the full span of data over 25 years, going back 20 years, as well as the 5 years of projections, the annual change numbers. All of this is exportable to Excel. I often like to show how we click this quick button here, and we're able to break it right out into an Excel document, which is huge for accounting firms. We know junior level staff really love this because it allows them to quickly find the data they're looking for, manipulate it, put it into your own analysis, but all of that is right there into Excel for you. I also want to share with you our financial ratios. We know that this is something that's used quite heavily. So we have about 45 different financial ratios here. We have a definition of all of our calculations for you to take a close look at if you wanted to learn more about some of the financial ratios that we do contain here. And you can even break it down by the size of the business too, looking at this asset size of business here. So you can really key in on various sizes of business. But we took that one step further. Something that we really love that we've added to our collection is the segment benchmarking. Now, segment benchmarking is another additional collection that you can add on to your industry subscription here. But this allows you to look at businesses of different sizes. So suddenly we're looking at the coffee and snack shops in the US, but we can actually break it down now based on number of employees. So this allows you just more specific data to look at with the industry that you might be working with. Let's say the business that you're looking at is 20 to 99 employees. That seems to be the largest here. Now it's going to break me down, have me go right to the 20 to 99 employees section, second largest, excuse me. So now I have statistics surrounding that segment of the coffee and snack shops. So just a way to get even more granular for you when you're doing your comparisons and looking what some of the regular industry averages might be. So definitely a feature to check out. The last thing that I'm going to show you within the report are our call preparation questions. I mentioned earlier, if you're having some trouble figuring out exactly what to ask based around things like those key success factors, the key external drivers, these are questions regarding specific roles that you can go to and just delve further into when doing your research and your preparation for the audit. Have your internal conversations with staff members, ask for different data that they have, and help you with your analysis. So I really like to think of these as almost jumping off points to get you going with thinking about things that you'd really want to explore and delve into with that company. So obviously there is a lot of information here. We're always here to help. Just go up and you can click this help center icon. Of course, your client relationship manager will always be listed for you right at the main home screen of IBISWorld. So please reach out. Let us know how we can assist. Continue to explore the Help Center for further information, along with additional products that can potentially help you in your role, such as our state industry reports and company benchmarking tools. Thank you so much.